Wednesday, and it was through Facebook Rooms, and it's a very new feature to Facebook. It's great because you can share the link to other people, even people outside of Facebook. But then I never figured out a way to save it. So yeah, so we're redoing this so that we can put it, yes, and show more people.
It was so good. I hope it's gonna be as good as it was on whatever day it was,
Yeah,
Wednesday, right?
I know. So I want to keep my concept short. I like sweet and short videos. So it's going to be about 20-25 minutes. I'm going to ask Gabrielle a few questions. But before we start, I just want to give a quick intro in your background. So you were born and raised in Quebec, in St. George. We're actually from the same hometown. It's a very small little place in Quebec. And we didn't even know each other from there, actually. It all started, we did flying school together. And then through Facebook and all, then we started connecting just like a couple months ago, really. So you've been through a lot of changes. Obviously, you went to cop school and then changed, reoriented your career and went to flying school. That's where we met, Air Canada. And you moved from Toronto, then to Vancouver, and now you're building your empire. And between them, that there was COVID, so there was a lot of challenges your way. So before we go with the first question, well, this is my first question actually. I want to know about cop school because I'd love to hear how that went for you and if it was hard to stand your ground in like such a masculine environment. And did that forge your character and in any way?
I feel like I'm just gonna take this off because it's annoying with the ring light. But I feel like for most of the people that know me, everybody knows that I have a really strong personality. Like I like to say that I'm passionate. Otherwise, I feel a bit crazy sometimes. But police school was really a good period of my life. Like it was something I really enjoyed, and my masculine energy is more prominent. I don't know if that's a word in English.
Yeah.
It's stronger than my feminine, so I think that's why I liked it so much. Yeah, so it was amazing. Like I met some of my best friend, one of my best friend there, and my teachers were amazing. They made such a huge difference in my life at that time. I was 21. So, at that age, like early 20s, you're going through a lot of things. So it was really something that I do not regret, and I would totally do it all over again if I had to.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really
Yeah.
good. Was there a lot of like physical tests and stuff? Like, was it really
Yeah,
hard
yeah,
level?
lots of physical, which was not really my it wasn't my strength. I always liked working out, but it was always harder for me. Like even though I pushed myself so hard, it wasn't easy. And I think that aspect of it also helped rerouting my life kind of thing. um yeah, so at the end of the program, you need to run 8 kilometers in 48 minutes. And that was my big challenge for the whole 3 years because I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't do it. So anyways, that first try, I failed. And so I worked as a dispatch at the Quebec Provincial Police for that whole year before I redid the test and finally succeeded. But I think that kind of helped me figure out that it wasn't really what I wanted to do. I really love taking the calls at the dispatch, but picturing myself on the other side of it on the road, I was just like, I don't know if that's for me. I'm not sure if I want to go deal with all these
Yeah.
like child abuse, whatever, like you name it. So
Yeah.
yeah.
It takes a lot of self-control in a way, but like control your own emotions, right? If you're a sensitive person or you're sensitive to people's energies, I mean, that's rough. But
Oh yeah, that would have been it for me. Like, and as I was doing the program, I knew I was a sensitive person, but the more I was taking calls, the more I was like, I don't know. I think I'm too sensitive.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I totally understand. Yeah. And then you realized that you weren't fulfilled at some point, as you mentioned, and then you had to change something, obviously. So you signed up with Air Canada. and you went to training. You had to change cities, you had to change lifestyles, you had to change your circle. And so how did that go for you?
Actually, I think that was one of the best things that ever happened in my life. Air Canada has been, well, first of all, it's a great place to work, but the life experiences that it gives you, and you know, you were a flight attendant for a while, but it's just, I met some of my best friends there that I still see every day. I've been to places that I would never have been without this amazing job, and for that I'm so grateful that life kind of brought me there, and everything happens for a reason. When I applied for it, it was just like I had never been on the Air Canada website, and I was just like, oh, let's go check that out. It's just weird how the universe brings you to those places, like so random.
Yeah. Was it an ad? Like, did you see an ad go by and you're like, oh, I'll go click there? Or you just like randomly?
Not even. I just went on. I was living with a girl named Jessica at the time, so I was at Jessica's house, and I was just in the bedroom that she was renting me, and I just went on the Air Canada website in the career section, or they were looking for flight attendants, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get it anyways, whatever. And then 2 weeks later, I was hired, and that's when like all my life took a turn. I had to go to Montreal for training, for an 8-week training, and then I had to go to live to Toronto for 3 years until I decided to move to Vancouver. So it was interesting, but it was really fun. Like you know, like it's such a fun, different, cool job.
Yeah, especially that it's so hard to get in. Like once you know that you're in and you're hired, it's just like the best thing that ever happened. Right? Because
oh my God, you're
group interviews, other interviews, and then like I'm skipping some, but it's a very hefty process. So yeah, I can definitely understand that. Yeah. So getting out of your comfort zone is very intimidating, right? For all of us, we all know that. But did taking a risk change your perspective on life? Did it open new doors for you, or did it close them?
I like taking a risk. Are you talking about the Air Canada thing?
Like going from a world that you know and you grew up with, and then saying like, okay, this is like a leap of faith. I'm going to something totally new.
I feel like there's something about, I wouldn't qualify it as like taking a risk or anything like that, because I feel like when you listen to your intuition, like for me at that time, that's what it was telling me. It was like, you need to go. So I feel like everything in the universe rearranges itself to make it easier for you to go that path, because that's where you're meant to go. So I've never seen it as a risk. It was more like, oh, okay, that's where life is taking me. So I'll just go see what's there, you know? Especially like I was, how old I think I was 26 when I did training. Yeah, that would make sense. I think I was 26, so I don't have kids. I didn't have a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I didn't have a house or anything. So I didn't have any like strings attached anywhere. So for me, it was really easy, and I just closed my eyes. And that's what I do with pretty much everything in life. If it presents itself to me, I'm just like, you know what, whatever. I'll just go with this and see where that takes me.
Yeah. And because you both went through that training, what was the thing that you found the hardest during that training? Was it it's a 7-week process, or was it the tests?
I think, well, obviously, like, you know how condensed it was. Like it was, and you know, like the procedures book, R356, whatever it's called, like you had to study the whole thing. And it was just like so much information all at once. And also being older in a class filled with younger people, like my patience is not that good. So sometimes that would be really annoying to me, because I'm like, let's go, like, come on, let's push through, let's get shit done, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, like the mental toll was really intense, and also like sharing your room with someone you don't really know, and like things like that. I guess you get used to it, but it was, I think the studying and everyday learning everything, and like the commands and the exams all the time, like that was challenging.
Yeah, those were really tough. For those who don't know what it is, it's like emergency drills, and you have to pass them with like not even a word difference, right? It has to be word on word, and as you're just like simulating an emergency landing, and then you have to shout these commands. and you have like 3 or 4 judges, right? I can't remember. They're watching you, noting everything you're doing, and you have to say like it's different aircraft, so you have a different procedure for different aircrafts. So that was the most challenging thing for me. It was like
It's a lot of pressure.
I I actually failed the first one because of something really, I said something I can't remember and it wasn't right. So I had to take it when everyone had already graduated, or like, when you pass, you're like, yeah, everybody's partying. And I'm like, no, this is like the scariest thing.
Mm.
But it forges you, right? I mean, these kind
Yeah.
of challenges, they make you.
It forges your character too, and like it gets you to believe more in yourself. I find, like, after you've gone through something like that, it's insane.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And be able to become a flight attendant is really a privilege, but also what's a privilege is waking up and feeling grateful and fulfilled with your life. So what's the greatest value in doing a job you're passionate about for you? How does it feel to wake up every morning and be fulfilled and be passionate about what you do?
I feel like the world is complicated enough. There's enough problems and enough things that are going wrong. I feel like if on top of that you add a job that you hate, life can be like really challenging. But if you see it like, if you're passionate about what you do, it all works. It's all your mindset. Like, if you get up and you're like, oh, this is great, I'm gonna do that today, it doesn't feel like work, because actually you're gonna hang out with amazing people. Like, most of the flight attendants are awesome. You're gonna have a good time. Where you're going. Like, it's really important to do something you love. Yeah, like
I agree with that.
it's hard for me to put it into words, because that's all I've done all my life. Like, I was lucky enough to find jobs that I really loved. I couldn't imagine getting up and be like, oh, I need to go there again. I need to, like, it's just draining, and we don't need that. Like,
oh no, life is stressing enough. Definitely. What's the craziest thing you've seen, or like a situation or an emergency landing or anything that you like to share? Because those moments there's a lot of them.
Yeah, well, crazy things. I mean, there's a lot of crazy people out there, that's for sure. So that would be a long list. But emergency wise, a high speed rejected takeoff. We were like 1 second away from taking off, and like the brakes just, it's kind of it's a weird feeling to feel those brakes work really hard like that. So that, and then an aborted landing, stuff like that. But I was really lucky. Like, I never had anything like completely insane that traumatized me, thank God. Like,
no big emergency, like medical emergencies or anything like that.
No, I've been, honestly, like, I think like the flight gods are on my side, because obviously, like, you have those medical emergencies once in a while, people fainting and stuff like that, but nothing, like, no severe turbulence, nothing insane that's interesting to talk about anyways.
Yeah. If I can add that, we were in first class. It was like in the middle of the night, right? And the flight attendants in the back, they call us and they're like, there's an emergency, like someone fainted and like they're not feeling well, and they're like the family's really stressed out, blah, blah, blah. So we put on, you know how it goes, like, okay, we're in this, you put your oxygen thing on, you bring your first aid and everything. And so we're ready to go. And this guy from first class comes in like, whew, he's like, where's my gin and tonic? And we're like, it's not the time.
Yeah. People have no awareness. Like, people think that you're superheroes, which we kind of are. We're really badass, but like, also like, be aware of what's happening.
It was just a funny moment. And a question a lot of people might want to know, if you met any celebrities on your flights.
Ooh, well, the biggest one was definitely Chris Hadfield. And it's funny because a lot of the younger people are like, who's Chris Hadfield? I'm like, it's an astronaut. Like, he's quite, it's kind of intense. But he was really sweet. He was going to the washroom, and my mom is fascinated with everything related to NASA, or like the International Space Station. So when he came out, I'm like, Mr. Hadfield, could I please have your autograph, my mom? And he was super sweet. He started talking in French, and we chatted for a little bit, and that was it. That was really like the biggest celebrities. I had politicians, hockey wives, but yeah, yeah.
Nothing more than that.
Yeah. I mean, who else? Like sometimes people will be like, "Oh, you have so and so at the front. He's in that show." I'm like, I don't know.
No.
Have never watched it, so
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
A Facebook old flight attendant friends that have seen like Tom Cruise and like these crazy famous people. I'm like, oh, I've never seen these people. Like, what are the destinations? Probably
Yeah.
going to LA, New York, I guess. Like,
You'd think that this guy would travel in his own private jet, but
yeah, totally, yeah. So right now, circumstances are obviously not ideal in the aviation world. What was your reaction about when COVID hit, and at what point did you have to like give all your stuff back? Like, and will you be flying again?
Okay, so we had to give our stuff back in June, like our pass and our parking pass and that kind of stuff. But I haven't flown since March 15th. And when it first happened, honestly, I was getting to a point where I was getting really tired, and I still enjoyed it, but I felt a bit more stressed. I'm alone with my dog, so it was really for me like painful to leave her all the time. So when that happens,
would you babysit her, or like, I'm wondering, do you have friends?
Yeah.
That or?
Yeah, I would have to drop her off at a sitter like every time, and I think it made her anxious, so that made me anxious, and so it didn't help the situation. But so when that first happened, I was like, this is good. I was really happy about it, and I still am. I love being home like every day. I think it's great. I have nothing to say against that. Like it doesn't make me feel, I mean, there's
for granted, right? It's something we take for granted, being at home, and you know that.
Yeah. And I already know when I go back to work, I'm going to miss those days. Like I haven't worked in 6 months, and I'm going to be like, oh my God, I missed the Rona episode. That was fun to be home and, you know, work on ourselves and be with my dog and just go in nature and Tofino and places like that. And if I'll fly again, I don't know. I'm a bit in a transition period right now. Now it's time to look for a job. I wanted to take the summer off, so now it's time to go back to work somewhere. And if you ask me, like, what's the percentage? I'm 50-50. I don't know if I want to go back. We'll see what the future holds. Like, once again, I have so much faith in the future. Like, I'm totally okay leaving my destiny in the universe's hands.
Awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And it also depends, like, when are they going to be calling back? Like, if they call back right away, or are they going to call back in a year? I mean, that all changes everything, right? So, I mean.
Yeah, I think it's going to take, I don't know, a few years, pretty sure. Yeah.
Who knows? Yeah. And now that you're starting your business, Gab, what made you start? Like, what's your why? And, so how did you start your project?
My why is right behind me here.
Your vision board.
My vision board. What made me start? See, that's another weird thing because, okay, so my side business is like dealing shampoo. So I never thought in a million years that I would be doing this. Like, I never was into beauty products or anything like that. So the fact that this landed on my lap in December, that was just one other thing that it was absolutely risk-free. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm just going to try it. If I make $100 a month extra, well, that's going to cover my dog's food, and that's perfect. Turned out that I make a lot more than that. And I'm like, wow, okay, this is legit. Like, this works. So I didn't really have a reason to start, although, like, obviously the extra income, like, duh. Yeah. But I just found a passion in that. And my why is my dog. But also just playing with her ball. Also, like, financial freedom, time freedom, personal freedom, be able to do what I want when I want to, be my own boss and not have anybody tell me everything I keep doing wrong and nothing I do right, you know, like that's also a big motivation. And like I have so many big dreams, like dream car, dream house in Tofino, like being able
You
to
got it.
retire my mom, like, you know, it's there's a lot of things, and your why should make you cry. When you start a business, when you start something, your why should make you cry, because that's what's going to help you get up every day and be like, okay, I need to do this again today, even though you're like, ugh, feel like it's not going anywhere, but you push through, you push through, you push through, and like eventually it goes somewhere.
Definitely, that's what keeps you going. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
So if you have a piece of advice or a piece of wisdom, I don't like the advice word, but a piece of wisdom to offer the world, what message would you give out?
There's so many things, but definitely learn to trust yourself and your intuition. Your intuition is always what's going to take you to the best decision. If you don't know where to go, if you have two choices, think it through, breathe, recenter, and like always follow where your intuition is telling you to go. It can't be wrong. And I'm kind of going through that right now, so like I'm trying to like spend my days thinking and trust myself in those emotions, like to make those big decisions. But yeah, like I wrote an Instagram post not too long ago, and at the end I really liked my analogy. Like someone probably wrote that once in their life, but anyways, I really liked it. I was proud of myself. But it's like when the sailor follows the lighthouse in the night, that's its only way to find his way.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. Your intuition is your lighthouse. You follow that and you'll never ever make a bad decision. It's always going to be for the better. And yeah, the universe has your back. Like I always like to tell myself that, like I use a lot of affirmations. The universe has your back and everything is best case scenario.
yeah. We have to make little steps, but if you make those steps and you know it's for the best, and I think like the universe has a way of like empowering that, or helping you push towards your goals, I find.
Definitely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I totally believe in that.
Yeah. And where can we find you, Gab?
You can find me here on Instagram at Gab_Morin, or on Facebook, Gabrielle Morin. And yeah, I'm always on my phone, so you'll find me really easily.
Okay, well, thank you so much for joining. And I'm trying to see here, I don't know if there's another person. I think there's someone else, if there was any questions, but listening through. Gonna wait just a sec here and see. And while we're waiting, if there's a question, I just want to mention that we have a next guest, which is Charlene from Suriname, and she left the country that was in a economical crisis, and very little money in her pockets, and she left with her husband and 3 kids to Belgium, where she started her life again. So we'll be hearing from her next week. And Gab, I just want to thank you so much for being a part of it and redoing this conversation with me again.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. And I'm going to say it again. I know I said it on the first call, but I think you're doing great. I just love watching your live videos. You're coming out of your comfort zone. It's so amazing to see that, especially coming from women. It's so hard for us to not beat ourselves up. And you're doing great things for yourself, and I know you're going to go very far. There's a lot of engagement on your Wind of Change Facebook page, and I think you're doing amazing. Keep going.
Thanks, Gab, so much. Yeah, very appreciated. And if you guys don't know what the Wind of Change is a private Facebook group. You just type it in though and you'll see it. So it's a wind of change for people who are going through or have been through difficult life transitions. So we're a support group. It's private, so you can post, personal things, and it's just a safe place to fall back in. So yeah, so that's the closure. So I guess we'll see you guys later, and I don't see any questions. So, and I just have to save this because last time I was able to. So Gab, where do I save?
Okay, so when